There we go. They're still here. Hey, greetings and salutations, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to On Air with Walt. I am your host, Walt Lusk, and we are here at UBN Studio with an amazing international guest, Robert Sun, who is the founder, president, and CEO of American Chinese CEO Society. And we're going to have an amazing chat about international relations, how we began, and how things have gone on in China and in the United States. So stay tuned. You can watch it here at UBN Go, which is ubngo.com, and it's also live on my YouTube channel, On Air with Walt. Just do a search for that on YouTube, and you can watch it there now or later. So without further ado, I want to introduce Mr. Sun. He's amazing guy. We've been having an amazing chat. He's been here between the United States and China for years, as you'll hear. And Mr. Sun, thanks so much for joining us and being on the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, we've been chatting a little bit here to get to know each other before the show, and incredibly connected, an amazing networker, as you'll see, and all that networking has paid off big time. And as he likes to say, you know what, the sun is always with you. And so we're going to hear a little more about that and whatnot. So start with, how did you end up in the United States, and what was tell about your journey? I know you were involved with the foreign ministry, the foreign affairs in China, and they did not want to let you go, and you ended up here in the United States.
Yeah, that was in the 1980. I was working for the Foreign Affairs Office in one of the city called Guilin in China. It's a beautiful city. Attracts a lot of visitors from around the world, especially many of the dignitaries from different countries went to visit Guilin while they are in China for business or for government visit. At that time, you travel through Hong Kong.
Oh, wow. So you mean you went through Japan.
So
and Hong Kong, they were back then. They weren't part of China yet.
Right. Hong Kong was like a gateway for the Westerners to go to China. So when I was working for the Foreign Affairs Office, so I met a lot of delegations from many English-speaking countries, including America. And I met a group from Loma Linda Dental School,
which is in Riverside County here in Southern California.
Yes, and the group was led by Dr. Klooster. He was the dean of the dental school, with about 25 to 30 people in the group. It was called a people-to-people group. And we spent a great time together. Then they liked me, of course, so they invited me to come to study in the U.S.
Well, what's not to love, Robert? I mean, you seem to make friends everywhere you go.
Thank you.
You know, seriously.
And one thing I always like to do when I meeting the new delegation at the airport, so I say to them, my name is Sun, and let the sun be always with you. Of course, the sun shines every day.
All day.
Yes. So I tried to come to the United States after they sent me the enrollment documents for the school at the UC Riverside.
Yeah, UC Riverside, yep.
For the business, school. And so when I got the document, I was so excited. I couldn't go to sleep that evening. And so the next day, I asked my superior to approve for my, application. And they said, you are very needed here.
Too valuable.
We want you to
way too valuable.
Stay, and maybe not right now. So this first year didn't happen. So I waited for the second year, and I got the enrollment paper again during the school, application time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so excited again.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to talk to higher level government leaders in my, office. And the same thing happened. And so I was not able to leave on the second year. Then the third year, again, I got excited because my friend sent me the enrollment document. This time, I went directly to the city mayor to talk to the leader in the, high level government.
So you went basically went up the food chain and went over everybody's head.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I tried to, get them to approve for me to leave for this great opportunity. But the city mayor said the same thing. You're too valuable for us. And we would like to maybe send you on the mission for foreign visits.
Well, let's take a step back and say, one of the reasons why you were too valuable was what you told me was where you were was one of the most tourist destinations and was a beautiful, beautiful part of China.
Yes.
So explain a little bit about, how amazing that was and how you were so valuable.
And because Guilin is such a beautiful international destination for tourism, and the scenery, of course, #1 in the world.
There you go.
And so a lot of dignitaries, are treated over there for a visit, special visit. So many leaders of foreign countries go there. So I, worked over there and I did a great job.
Oh, no doubt.
So I learned fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, a people person, So I
definitely.
always work very well with foreigners, and they like me.
And of course, everywhere you went, Mr. Sun, who never sets, is making friends everywhere. I mean, you're talking the epitome, folks, of a international networker, as you'll see.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
So I finally, decided to leave the city. So I resigned for the fourth year, and I tried to find a way to, come to the United States for this great opportunities. So I went to work at a university for the president of that school as an assistant. So I went there and worked for about 1.5 years. Finally, I came to the United States. And of course, when I was in China, I learned a lot about America or other countries through, chats with people, or they gave me books to read or magazines they brought into China.
Mm-hmm.
So I found China, what I heard and what I, actually see in China was very limited.
And of course, all the friends you met, you'd get a different perspective of China as well as the world as well.
Yes.
So, you were kind of, wow. Yep. And you've been, as you said, you're a very curious guy.
Very curious.
Yeah,
and,
which is, again, paid off.
Curiosity really keeps growing every year.
Yes.
And so finally I came, and then my friends arranged me to go to study for MBA degree for business. But at that time, I was focusing on study city government because I was thinking to get my study done and go back to China to run for a city mayor,
Well, there you go.
So that was my ambition at that time. And while studying in UC Riverside, my friends invite me to speak to many Rotary clubs.
There you go. Yeah, you got involved with the Rotary, which is, even meeting more friends.
Yeah, so the circle of friends keep growing.
Yes.
And I really enjoyed meeting, many business people, presidents, CEOs, and they ask about how to do business in China or with China.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been trying to help them connect with the consul general's office or embassy, or other people through my personal friends in China. So they got me into, doing some kind of a brokerage for business.
Yeah, I was going to say, so through your networking, of course, and your connections, you now are a kind of a broker and a networker and an ambassador of China, and connecting just through your friends and who you knew, people in China with America and vice versa.
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
So at that time, China, was doing business through Hong Kong. So there was not direct, trades with the U.S. So my, support and help to these people was very, very important.
Oh, it's quite valuable. And remember, this is in the mid-'80s.
Yeah.
And Hong Kong didn't become done until, was it 1999 or 2000?
97.
No, 97. Okay,
Yes.
yeah, it was the late 90s. Yeah.
So through all these years, I keep making more friends. And then I start to take, classes in marketing, stock market, and a lot of things relating to how to do business. And so...
Well, there you go. You're getting your sort of your MBA.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
in spite of yourself or because of it.
Yes. So I start to, to try to do some business.
Mm-hmm.
So after I got my degree, and I found, a position right away with a trading company.
Of course you did.
And so they asked me to be their general manager, and they also offered me vice president for the company. And obviously, the owner of the company wanted to keep me there and to work for them, and they offered me some ownership after about a year.
You are popular.
And then I realized if I take some ownership of the company, then I would probably have to stay there for life. So I think I want to explore other opportunities. So I declined to take the ownership. Then another company asked me to work for them. It's a medical supply company. So I also tried that company because it's much larger. And I was responsible for their China operation to bring products, to design, a lot of the programs for products to be made over there and to be branded. So I learned a lot. Then after...
Wow, so basically you were in the origins of the creation of basically manufacturing in China.
Yes.
And bringing it to the United States.
Yeah, because China offer much cheaper cost.
Yeah, labor for sure.
And for labor or for many other things.
Yes.
And so I helped the company brought in a lot of products. Then after 3 years, and I learned the business, so I said, I'm going to start my own business.
There you go.
And that was exciting.
Sure.
And so I got into medical supply business because I met so many friends here, like Loma Linda doctors.
Yes.
So they all talked to me about...
Loma Linda is a quite mecca of doctors and medical stuff there. Yep.
Yeah. And so I sometimes, went to hang out with the friends at Loma Linda or go to the church with them. So I met more doctors. And as you know, in the end of 1980, the AIDS broke out.
Yes, the AIDS epidemic started and was in pretty much full swing within 10 years later. Yeah.
Yeah, and people were very scared,
Yes.
and all the doctors, the dentists,
Yep.
all the medical personnel asked to use gloves for protection. So I was able to, find the sources in China and order products and bring them into the U.S.
Wow.
So I sold a lot of medical gloves.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the company actually was very large in the U.S. and they're one of the major distributor. So they asked me to ship products to their 12 different locations across the U.S.
There you go.
But the interesting thing was very exciting. I didn't have a warehouse. I didn't even have money to buy these products.
Right. That would have been a challenge.
And so that was a very big challenge. But the good thing is I know many people in the industry. So I found some companies have stock in their warehouse. And one of the company actually from China, and they stock a lot of products, but they don't sell as many. So I become a very good, support for them. So I asked them if they can offer me terms. They said yes, because they trust me. So the first order, when the company called me, do you have gloves? I said yes. And can you ship to our warehouses across the country? I said, how many? He said 12. I didn't even hesitate. I said, of course. But at that time, as I said, I don't have an office, don't have a warehouse. I don't have a fax machine to receive orders. So the same day when he called, I said, I, went to buy a fax machine.
I remember those days.
And the fax machine cost me $1,200.
Oh my gosh, it was that much back then?
$1,200.
Yes, $1,200. Yeah. Wow.
And so as soon as I hooked the fax machine, then the orders coming through, and I still remember the sound.
Yes.
Of the orders coming through.
And that kind of paper. Yes, and it was paid for itself then. So let's fast forward a little bit and give us a little bit of the origins of ACCS, American Chinese CEO Society.
Yeah, that's also because of so many friends I have made. So many people ask me to help them. Some do like, textile products or clothing or condoms,
Hey,
bicycles.
Latex all over the place.
All different kinds of products.
Sure.
So I hooked them up with China and even furnitures. So later I said, I'm too busy to get involved with other people's business. So I start to think about getting a organization set up so we can help each other. And of course, before that, I was working with other like association and become like a president to serve for like different terms. But that was only among the Chinese. So later in 2005, I and a few other friends founded this American Chinese CEO Society. And so we can help more people.
Now, you did mention in our pre-show conversations about Wal-Mart, and you helped Wal-Mart basically get into China a little bit before or about the time ACCS started?
Yeah, that was in the early 90s. And I met a friend at a wedding who actually
more networking.
was from Bentonville, Arkansas.
Okay. Yes, and for those who don't know, Walmart's international headquarters is in Arkansas.
Yes. So I met him, and he actually was a businessman. His name is Fred Keith. Became a very good friend. And then he invited me to, Bentonville, of course. So I met some, executives at Walmart, and his son happens to be one of them. So they show me the Walmart nickel store.
Walmart nickel store?
Yeah, became a museum at that time.
Yeah.
Then he also introduced me to Sam Walton. And Sam Walton, had a book at that time explaining about his business. Then I start to, work with Fred, and so we arranged a visit to China. And I arranged the visit for Walmart executive and also my friends to visit Zhejiang province in Hangzhou.
So would that be the first time officially that Walmart as a company had been to China?
Yeah, that's the first time
wow.
they actually made a decision to go to China. And so I arranged the governor of the province to meet them and arranged the factories for them to see. And also they, start to consider how to buy products from China.
Mm-hmm.
So they started from Zhejiang.
Wow.
Look today, later, Walmart not only buy products from over there,
they're manufacturing,
but they manufacture, and they also open many Walmart store in China.
Of course they did.
And also Sam's Club.
Yep.
So when you have a relationship, you work at it, and sometimes things can just keep growing to the situation that you never even expected.
Yes, I know the feeling. It's happened to me more than once. Now, you also talked about, just maybe you can talk about other companies, but you said American Airlines had issues too. They weren't flying to China yet either?
Okay, American Airlines was, a situation when they first approached us. They said, we want to join American Chinese CEO Society as a member. And so we said, of course. So when they joined the organization, I asked them how we can help you. You're such a large company, and you're number one, airline in the world.
Right.
Then they say yes. Then I start to, find out that they have been negotiating in China for opening the terminal for their service in Beijing. But they have been negotiating, talking to China for a long time, and things just do not move efficiently. Then we reached out to China, the Ministry of Commerce, and also my friends in the, aviation industry. So I said, why don't you go with us to China? And because I arranged delegation to go to China every year.
Again, you have American Airlines entree to China as their first visit through all of your networking and your friends.
No, they probably already been there, but they have been working with the government and the bureaucracy, things like that. So they are not making enough progress to be successful.
Yeah.
So they wanted to, reach out to us to help them. Because when Americans go to China, they do not socialize as we do. Personal socialize with the friends, because we have friends that we grew up together or went to school together, so we can really, get their help. So when I took a delegation to China, American Airlines sent the 3 people, on the delegation with us.
Mm-hmm.
So every city we go, I ask for the government to arrange meetings for American Airlines with the aviation, people.
Right.
So after we got involved, and didn't take long, about probably 6, maybe a little over 6 months, then it got successful. Things happened. And so
that's pretty quick, relatively speaking.
Yeah, so they were very happy, and they arranged a celebration, in China at the Great Wall. That, as you know, Great Wall is such a great symbol for China around the world.
Yes, it is.
And also had a celebration here. Then Delta Airline also joined us, reached out to us, and they asked me to write letters of recommendation for them, to open airlines service to China as well, early days. And so we helped many different companies and looking for partners in China, or how to, cut through the red tape, working with government. Then also in U.S., and my wife likes to go shopping at South Coast Plaza.
Well, of course she does. And who doesn't? South Coast Plaza is the largest mall. I think it's still the largest mall in Orange County in Costa Mesa.
Yeah, and they are like Rockefeller Center, and they sell all these, top brands.
Yes, they do.
On the West Coast of U.S., but they're international. And they receive about 24 million visitors every year. So it's a very large operation. So I went to South Coast Plaza a lot with my wife, and they treat me very nice. So I become friends with the owner, the general manager, and also the director for international and domestic, marketing. And David Grant, the general manager, and also Warner, the international director for marketing and domestic as well. So I take them to China. I take Warner to China to visit. So he likes to connect with the people from China, especially all these CEOs and entrepreneurs, because my organization, American Chinese CEO Society, are many CEO members and the presidents, owners, or executives. And so sometimes we go there, and I send people over there when they come from China, and they really spend the money. And one interesting purchase was by one of the Chinese businessmen, very successful, and one purchase using the Union Pay card for $2 million.
There you go.
So while working with South Coast Plaza, and we talk about how to get more people there from China, and so I reached out to Chinese Consul General's office because I have friends over there. And I said, have you been to South Coast Plaza? And the ambassador said, no, never. I asked his wife.
Well, there you go. Got to talk to the wife.
And
Sure.
then I told them about South Coast Plaza and also our member, And also South Coast Plaza wanted to have a meeting with them as well. So instead of going to their office, I said, how about I invited the Consul General to come to South Coast Plaza?
There you go.
And then the Consul General said, yeah, that's a good idea.
Of course it is.
So he came and he brought, the other business counselor actually, and a few other people. So we had a great celebration, the red carpet all the way from the parking lot into South Coast Plaza.
And the parking lot goes all around it, too.
Yes.
So basically, because I went to school in Orange County, I'm very familiar with South Coast Plaza. So you are the influencer that got all the Asians and people from Asia to shop at the South Coast Plaza, because I know there's a lot of stores there that cater to that community.
So we
Wow.
actually have done some, events over there. So when the Consul General, came to South Coast Plaza, the Chinese news agency, Xinhua News Agency, which is the largest in the world for China, then People's Daily and the Phoenix Television and many other, newspaper all followed him. So they really, wrote a lot of articles and publicized South Coast Plaza and also us, ACCS. Then we came up with an idea because Chinese New Year, every year that we people get together.
Mm-hmm.
So we decide to, work with South Coast Plaza to do Chinese New Year party
There you go.
over
There you go.
there at the Jewelry Court, which is a great, venue.
I've
So,
been there. Yes, there's some amazing jewelers there.
Yes.
There
So
are.
now we got South Coast Plaza and also many stores. Of course, they all participate. Then we started with a few hundred people every year. Now we gather over 1,000 people on the Chinese New Year for 2 weeks
2 weeks.
for the opening.
Wow.
There's an opening ceremony, ribbon cutting, the lion dance or the party.
Mhm.
Then invite the consul general and also the local government or state government, governor's office, U.S. Commercial Service. So they all come, and we do opening ceremony there. Then now, besides China, because the Koreans, the Japanese also, interested, and also Malaysia, Indonesia. So the consul general or the commercial attaché, they all join us now. So this thing is growing.
That's a big party.
Yeah, big party.
That's a big party.
Yeah, nice food. Then with some of the Chinese restaurants over there or some other type of restaurants, they provide, sponsor the food. And so the thing's growing there. Now the Moon Festival. So we also have South Coast
the
Plaza
Moon Festival.
celebrating there.
Mhm.
Then also we have another member is the Nixon Foundation.
Yes, you mentioned the Nixon Library, and I want to touch on the Academy Awards, but let's talk about the Nixon Library, because Nixon, of course, was the president that actually opened up in 1968 with Henry Kissinger diplomatic relations between the United States and China.
Yeah, so that's a great story and also a great breakthrough, because China and the U.S. were enemies at that time.
Yes.
And so this started with the ping pong diplomacy.
Yes, we talked about ping pong, and ping pong is huge in China.
Yeah, it's a national game.
Yes.
And so this game actually happened in Japan and the World Ping Pong Championship. So China sent delegation there, the sports, team to compete, and also Americans sent the teams over there. So one day, this bus take a Chinese, team to the stadium. All of a sudden, this other person actually from America jumped on the bus by mistake. His name is Cohen from Santa Monica, a young man, a player for American team on the ping pong. Then at that time, people from China and America, they don't talk to each other in the public, space.
More of that China Wall stuff.
Right. So when this head of the Chinese group, the sports team, actually he's a champion, Mr. Zhuang Zedong. And he saw this gentleman from America with the long hair, jump on the bus. Then he wondered who he is. Then he saw his USA on the back of his, jackets. Oh, then they were all surprised. Then he wondered if he can, talk to him. So he went up to him. And, of course, Cohen was very tall. So he has an interpreter help him and ask him. Then they start to, have a chat. Then he, Mr. Zhuang Zedong from China, he took out a embroidery, present, a gift. He said, "I'd like to give you a gift." And of course, Cohen was very happy to receive that. Then by that time, the bus arrived at the stadium. So as soon as they walk out, because that was a long time after China come back to play on the international stage for, the ping pong match. Because of the Cultural Revolution, China was closed. So the news media people was all waiting to take pictures. So they saw this American and Chinese together.
Well, I'm sure he stood out because he's so tall, right?
Yeah, so that all exploded in the news. Then the Chinese government, also was receiving all these, interesting stories from the news. Then the American ping pong team was very nice to, catch up with the Chinese team. And later Cohen also gave a gift back to Chinese delegation. Then the American team said, we would like to visit your country.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So at this time, this was all, reported back to the White House, President Nixon, and Dr. Henry Kissinger. Then in China to Zhou Enlai, the premier, and to Mao Zedong, the chairman Mao. So at the beginning, China was not accepting their, request to visit. And according to what I read, Chairman Mao didn't decide whether to invite the U.S. because it's, if they come like a government to government. And later they think maybe it's a people to people, maybe okay.
People to people.
Yeah.
People to people.
So after a few days, one day, Chairman Mao, already signed off the documents, from the Foreign Affairs Office, whether to invite the U.S. team or not. So at that time, they said not too early, not mature. Then Chairman Mao took some pills and was about to go to sleep. Then he picked up one of the newspaper and saw this big picture of Chinese, player Zhuang Zedong with Cohen exchange, gifts.
Right.
Then he all of a sudden came to his mind, it's a good opportunity. Let's invite the American team.
It's diplomacy.
Yeah. So the diplomacy just happened.
There you go.
So everything started.
And that's funny because if those of you who've seen the Forrest Gump movie,
yes,
there's an important scene in there about ping pong, and putting it in more perspective makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So all this happened. Then it came to this secret visit by Dr. Henry Kissinger.
Yes, in 1968. Right.
And through, Pakistan.
Ah.
And so Henry Kissinger pretended to visit Pakistan for a state visit.
Ah.
And when he arrived, the motorcade, one picked him up to send him to the other airport. The Chinese jet was waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other motorcade went to the hotel. At the same time, the Pakistan news, broke out, say Dr. Henry Kissinger was not feeling very well, and he need to have a day rest.
They need to rest.
In the meantime, he was on the way to China to meet Chinese leaders.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very fascinating.
And the rest is history. Now, you have gotten involved in the academies and the Oscars because you realized early on that there was a big need for, China to get involved in that regard from an actor perspective.
Yes, and ACCS has some members, like a company involved in movie industry, and also from China and Hollywood. And so one of the company, they do Night of 100 Star at the Beverly Hilton.
Yes.
For over 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so they invited me to one of their event, I think at 2015. So when I got there and I saw all these American movie stars, directors, a lot of them, over probably 600 people there. But I don't see Chinese movie stars.
Right.
I don't see Chinese movie makers. So I said, why no Chinese? He said, how about you help us? Maybe sell tickets to Chinese. I said, I want to do more than just selling tickets.
Right.
Maybe we can collaborate, do something. So I met the owner of the Night of 100 Stars, Mr. Walters, and the father and the son. So we talk about this. So we decide to collaborate. They do the Oscar, party, and we do the Oscar after party.
Right.
Because after party, many movie stars, they try to get to different parties.
Right. They're all they're carrying their Academy Awards, and they're going from party to party, and it's a party.
Yes. So that idea, I thought it was a very brave idea, because I'm not in the movie industry. I'm in the medical supply business. So I don't know how to do all this. But anyway, I talked to some of our members like American Airlines,
Yeah.
South Coast Plaza, and this law firm called MSK, and a few other companies. And they said, we can support you, sponsor
Of course.
the event, because events like this is very expensive. So we did the first one 2017.
2017.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
2017.
So that's not that long ago.
So I invited quite a few Chinese movie stars and directors from China side. And also we got the American side movie, script writers or stars, actually actors, and the directors. And so they brought actually, couple of them, they won the Academy Awards.
Mhm.
So they brought the
Of
awards.
course they did. Yep.
So we let people take pictures and let people touch them. Got very excited.
Yes.
So we got this first one very successful, and the ballroom was all filled up with people. Then we did the second one, the third one, and the fourth one just before the pandemic. And we got 500 some people to the party. And we help movie companies to collaborate, and the movie directors to work together, or even write script together so they can co-produce the movie. And so I also take some people from the Hollywood to China to meet China movie profession people, like studio people or the actors. Actually, we went to visit Shanghai Movie Festival.
Wow.
With some of the people from here, and they all opened their eyes. Wow, China market for movie, incredible.
Yes, it is. It's a big
And
market.
so this gentleman, Mr. Wang Jianlin, who actually bought AMC, this company called Wanda, and their American company, in Los Angeles and also Chicago, became our members. So they came to sign 11 movies. That's 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So we helped them organize the big event at the Los Angeles, museum. And there were so many people from Hollywood wanted to get into the event, but not enough space. And we got 600 people. And I heard there were probably 700 people were there, or even 800 people were there.
It's called standing room only.
Yes.
So in the time we have left, we've only got about 5 minutes. I wanted to talk a little bit about ACCS specifically. So maybe just a couple of big successes, even though you've had some amazing ones, and a little bit about the future and how folks can get involved.
Okay. ACCS is still very active. Actually, we have grown tremendously. we started here in Los Angeles, in Southern California, but now we have built chapters in about 20 more cities, major cities in China.
Wow.
Like Beijing, Shanghai, or
Mm-hmm.
Shenzhen, or Shandong province, Jiangsu province along the coastal area, or even inland. Then we also built some chapters on the U.S. East Coast, like Florida, New York, Washington, D.C., Boston, and it's all organic growth.
Well, our whole conversation has been about how you've done everything organically. So
Yes.
that doesn't surprise me in the least.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud. And so right now, the U.S. and China relationship is not at the best time.
Yes, the last few years have been a challenge.
Yeah. So again, from the business point of view, we just want to help a business to, reduce costs and to benefit the people, either China or U.S., because right now the inflation is pretty bad.
Yes.
And we all pay more, from our own pockets for Christmas, holiday gifts, even daily necessities. So when Donald Trump, add the duties over like a 25%,
Yes.
to
Tariffs,
all the
tariffs.
tariff,
Yep.
for the Chinese goods to come here. To be honest with you, from my personal experience, China side is not really paying this duty or the tariff. Mostly out from American consumers, because I import products from China, and so when this tariff is is levied, so I have to talk to my distributors, people who buy products from us, to share the duty or the tariff for this 25% addition. So they have to take it, and they to raise the price
Yes.
to their consumers or to their dealers. So it's all not good situation. So we hope we can work things out and help both China and the U.S., especially the people, the business people, to grow our business and only open the doors for the free trade, that we are getting the efficiency of getting the products. Now, also the problem is all this logistics, and then not enough, vessels coming this way or the containers going that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's messed up the harbor in Long Beach or Los Angeles, because there are many ships anchored outside.
There's at least 100, 150 ships, I believe. 70 to 100 plus 125
Yes.
ships out there that are just, and I've seen them along the coast here, that aren't able to enter the port.
Yeah, that's very sad.
It's very sad.
And
very sad.
so all the things that we try to do, China and the U.S. have differences, but I'm glad to see the leaders, sometimes they get together and discuss and talk. And personally, I have met the Chinese president, Xi Jinping, few times, and he's a solid guy.
Yes, he
and
is.
Also,
Yes, he is.
and also President Biden, I met him while he was accompanying, Xi Jinping to Los Angeles for the visit when he was the vice president. And they all decent people, and they have personal relationship because they spend, times together when
Right.
the both of them travel in the U.S. for over a week on the personal visit and the government visit. And when President Biden visited China and for a week, and Xi Jinping, the president, vice president at the time, accompanied him for 7 days as well.
Wow.
So they had a personal relationship.
Right.
So that, I think, is very important.
And to continue the personal relationship, since we are out of time, how does someone get involved with or learn more about and getting hold of you and ACCS, American Chinese CEO Society?
Yeah, we have a website, www.american-chinese-ceo.org. And if you want to send an email to me, my email is robertaccs@gmail.com.
There you go. So that is a little bit of our story about Robert's son and American Chinese CEO Society and the impact he's had in amazing ways in his networking on doing things. And you have tuned into Walt. This is Walt Lusk, and it's On Air with Walt, and we're here every Thursday here at UB & Go at 6 p.m. Pacific. I'll get it. And so stay tuned. Next week, we're going to have an amazing guest, Repo Rick, who is an amazing boxing mentor and promoter, and his byline is, if you don't know Repo, you don't know boxing. So stay tuned for more next week, and thanks for tuning in, and God bless everyone. Until next time.